Matt Murray is back, and the Leafscast is back now.
Holy mackerel, what a shot! It's Auston Matthews! Do you believe that? Pounds it off the roof of the net!
The Leafs are back. The Leafs are cooking. But we've got injuries galore that we need to get into. Stephen Douglas joined by Tim and Ryan Allison for a special pre-Christmas holly jolly, merry, around the fire edition of the Leafscast. Just warm up your hands.
Honestly, I'm not sure if it's like as merry as it maybe could have been. Like, we just lost to the Islanders. Always hate losing to the Islanders. And we have these injuries now. But, definitely lots of silver lining to go around.
Come on, Tim. You got a big beard. You could pretend to be Santa. Like, let's be a little jollier this podcast, eh?
All right. We're still first in the division. That's good.
When the Leafs lose on Saturday and we pot on Sunday, it's, I suppose, a different tone. But I am excited for the most merriest time of the year. The happy... What do they say? Anyway, oh my gosh.
The most wonderful time of the year.
All right, so we haven't potted. We took a week off last week. We felt like there just wasn't as much hot Leafs news to talk about, but we have Max Domi back, Auston Matthews out, Anthony Stolarz out, Matt Murray's back. Who else is back?
I feel like Nick Robertson and Bobby McMahon are all back after
Matt Rempe is out. He doesn't play for the Leafs, but he's out 8 games. We won't get into that. Let's talk about some of the games that we've played, maybe just over this past week, and a couple of the takeaways. So, Leafs come out Wednesday, play the Stars, 5-3 win. Friday, a 6-3 win over the Sabres, and then last night, a 6-3 loss on the Islanders in the second half of a back-to-back. How'd you guys feel about the Leafs this week? Couple of big wins, like Tim said, a disappointing loss. What'd you think?
I feel like this week there were some big-time positives, and there were also some big-time negatives. It felt like there was nothing in between. We were either really happy with what was going on, or it was the worst news. I feel like the worst news has got to be the absence of Auston Matthews in our most recent game against the Islanders, that he, I guess, re-aggravated his injury in that second game we played against the Sabres, and we kind of suspected that he was still playing through something, that he didn't quite look like 100% Hart Trophy nominee Auston Matthews, that maybe it's only going to be 70 or 80% Matthews. But turns out it's worse than that, and now it's re-aggravated. I don't know if that's because he came back too early or if it's just a freak thing, but either way, it doesn't matter now because he's out again. And it's unclear how long he'll be out, if this is going to make it so now he's going from 80% Matthews to 60% Matthews, but it's never good when your best player is dealing with something like this.
Do we even know what it is, or still they're just not doing anything?
Still undisclosed.
I saw the Sabres were just hacking him all over all night, just to make sure they covered their bases.
Yeah, they never specified like a specific play or a thing in the game that happened. I mean, like Berube was asked about a pretty vicious cross-check after the play. I don't know who did it in that Sabres game, and like Berube's like, that certainly didn't help. It didn't necessarily allude to like that was the thing, but I don't know. It's a little bit frustrating, honestly, like this undisclosed aspect of it, because we're just sitting here like, we're living and breathing the Maple Leafs, and it's just like, hope he gets better. Like, what the heck is wrong with the guy? I don't know what they are, being so cagey about, especially after he had been back for so long. Like, it takes me back to that playoff series from last year when, Matthews is out and Nylander's out. We really don't know why. And it's like, after they've been back for a while, we kind of find out what was going on. We still don't know what's going on with Auston Matthews. I don't know. I mean, re-aggravated, right? Like, is it some sort of a back issue, a muscle thing, right? It's obviously nothing like torn that he went off to have like proper surgery on, or else it would just be fixed and he would be back. It's something that like he is preventing him from getting to that 100%, right? When you've got something that's
but here's the thing. I am not a doctor. I will put that on full disclosure here I'm not the doctor on the Leafscast. But the one thing that I've seen out there is he's not at 100%. but he could still play through it, and it's not going to get any worse. It's not even going to delay the healing. It's just something that time's going to go, and he could still play, and it'll be okay. That makes zero sense.
Heart.
That makes zero sense to me as a non-doctor person. But if that's what they say, okay. This clearly is not the case with this injury, though, because he's playing. You get hit in the NHL, it happens, and now it's re-aggravated. So
we need to insert that Grebenkin quote.
Yeah, there you go.
I kill you kill me. It's business.
It's business.
It's business. Well, Auston Matthews was on the wrong end of the business, and he should not have been playing if stuff like that is going to re-aggravate and set him back further. We were so hot without him. We were top of the division without him. It was not like we were desperate to have him back. We were losing our playoff spot. We were fine. If he was in the position where playing could potentially put him in a harmful situation where he's not going to heal, he should not have been playing. And it's incredibly frustrating to me. To me, it's got to be the athlete. It's just like pride or ego or something to saying like, nope, I'm fine, put me in. And Berube can't help himself. He's like, I got to win every game. And they put him in. And it's incredibly frustrating. It feels like it could have been avoided, and we could have let him get to 100%. He would have been fine for the playoffs, which is the only games that matter, and then it would be good. But that's not what happened.
Matthews is worried he was going to lose his spot on the power play.
Yeah.
But even when coming back, I'm not going to say like he didn't have any good games. It was pretty like here and there. Some nights he looked amazing. Other nights he was pretty invisible, right? And that line was. And I don't know. I just think like mentally, right, to where he's going to have to get to mentally to like play some of these really important games we have down the stretch. You can't be having something that in the back of your mind you're like, oh, I can't go to that area because what if this happens and then I get a little bit banged up. But
we
again,
play
so
scum teams in the playoffs. Like scum, they're absolutely going to be targeting Matthews with these stupid cross-checks and hacks with their fourth liner nonsense. Just be like, let's take this guy out of the game and we're going to cross-check him once and then he's injured. Like, I don't know. It's very disappointing. It feels like that's a catalyst to our success in the playoffs, and it's being wasted on meaningless December games.
Well, speaking of meaningless, though, you have to think it's December 22nd as we're recording this, 2 months from the Four Nations. Does Auston Matthews get himself up to play in the Four Nations? I at this point certainly hope not.
No, I mean it's like you like how long before a player becomes known as like injury prone, right? Like here's I think Matthews, like we were joking about Nick Robertson and saying like, oh, he's so injury prone, and Nick Robertson had like he broke his leg, like these massive injuries that like they happen. Maybe it's a style of play, but it's these like little injuries where it's like, oh, he tweaked his groin, oh, his wrist is a little off, his back is like those are the definitions that say it like at any time anything can set a player off and they'd be out. It's like, I don't know, like maybe we joke we have Captain Glass Bones and Paper Skin over here. I don't know. It's concerning because this is what now twice like this year. Like we talk about 80 goals or 69 goals, whatever he's going to get. But
what's concerning is that clearly Berube thinks that the replacement for him is just put
David Kämpf
on the top line with Mitch Marner. Aren't you? That is the dumbest move I've ever seen. It lasted one period, and I couldn't believe it was even on the table. That is the worst pairing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, when I was I was in the chat, right, about like I was like, Matthews is out. Maybe they call up Minton. Would be kind of interesting. Could be. I was like, sure hope it's not Holmberg though, right? We've seen that enough. Like, wasn't even considering like from the top rope. It's David Kämpf sliding into top line minutes in his second game being back from injury. But I mean, Berube's not going to touch that third line right now. Probably not going to touch the second line. I see where they're at with Minton. With we haven't talked about that since last potting, but where they decided to send him down, even though like you could still see him making strides. I don't know. You don't want to bring somebody up when it's too soon, it wasn't like a guaranteed this man needs to be playing in the NHL right now. But I don't know. Maybe he comes back now out of somewhat necessity.
Is he a winger?
Minton?
He's
Oh
a
no, sorry. I thought you were talking
center.
about Cowan. Like calling up Cowan.
No. After the World Juniors, maybe. I mean, he's had like 5 goals in 2 of the prelim games, but I don't know. I mean, Holmberg's in the doghouse. David Kamp's not up for that, and the other 2 lines are cooking. I mean,
yeah,
I
maybe we should talk a bit about that third line because so Max Domi comes back, gets put on a line with Nick Robertson, Bobby McMahon, and just instantly catch fire. They were
all 3 of them.
A couple games there.
They scored 3 of our 5 goals on Wednesday in the game versus Dallas. They scored 3 of our 6 goals in the game versus Buffalo on Friday, and then they scored 2 of our goals on Saturday.
That line looks great. It's where were each one of these guys? I guess Bobby McMahon had some flashes throughout the season, but it's
Let me read you the goal totals that the Leafs have had in their games in December. Against Chicago, they had 4, and Nashville 3. Those don't count because those are bad teams. But then they had 1, 2, 2, 3 against Anaheim, 2, and then that line of Bobby McMahon, Domi, and Robertson got put together. And all of a sudden, our goal totals 5, 5, 6, and then 3 against the Islanders. But that's been basically the difference all year. We've been struggling to score goals because our goals are being scored by 5 men, exclusively being Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander, Nyes. And then all of a sudden you get some other people who are able to put the puck in the back of the net, and you get more than 2 or 3 goals a game. You're getting 4 or 5 goals a game. And it was very fun to watch us score those big, especially that game against Dallas, being able to put those up. Robertson always has a good game against his brother. That one is just
5-0. 5-0 against Jason Robertson.
Tim, how would your relationship be if you were a hot shot winger and your little brother comes to town and beats you 5 times in a row?
I would not be in a good mental state at all. Though I would have about, what does he get paid every year? $9 million a year to make me feel better?
No, it's not. No, he'd be paying $9 million if he played for the Leafs. I think it's 7.5.
Okay.
Look it up. I think I'm
I-
right.
I do think
7.75.
that biggest bright spot,
Is it 9.75?
7.75. You were closer than I was.
if the worst spot of the week was Matthews getting injured again, the best spot is definitely that third line picking up steam. Even just as individual players, Bobby McMahon, he's really pouring. I feel like he scores every game. And Domi is looking great. Robertson finally looks like what we hoped he would look like at the beginning of the season. And Domi's the weirdest one, that he was 2 years in a row, just starts out super sucking and then just turns it on in an instant like that. I don't know what it is.
And I wouldn't look at a lot of these goals either as fluky or greasy. These are just hot shots. They're finding the holes and hitting it. And it's been really sick to watch. The mentality really of Berube to sit at his lineup and say, let me pair the 2 coldest guys on my team, put him with Bobby McMahon, who's been fine, my man, maybe a little more than fine. And they turn it around to have the best stretch of goal scoring of their careers. I mean, give me a break. I'm just imagining you just put 3 Mikheyevs on a line together when you use stone hands. This needs to be the new thing. Ticket, 13 months from now when we're doing a pod about sweating buckets, and it's just take the guys who haven't scored in 10 games, throw them on a line together, and they'll pump each other up. It's sick. It is sick. And you think from Nicky Robb's perspective, the man was, it felt like a game away from being out of the lineup, traded, sent down. I have no idea, right? And he scores 1 goal. I don't even remember what game it was because it was so long ago. And he's found his way in. He's found his way in. So you're not going to touch that line. Second line's great. William Nylander is, I think, 4th in the Rocket Richard race. You take out empty netters, he'd be 78th in the Rocket Richard race. No, he's doing great. A lot of empty netters. Tim's man, Pacioretty.
Yeah, top six.
And
Top six guy who, like, I would not have picked Pacioretty to be the grit on
He's
that
100%
line.
the grit, yeah.
But he's just it's like, okay, what do you need from me? And he's just bought in.
He's like the grit in almost like a dirty kind of way. Like, he's walking a line there, and he's getting pretty close to me being like, I don't know if I like what you're doing. Like, he's throwing some big hits, a little bit late stuff. Like, it's close. He's not there yet. He's not, Ryan Reeves out there, but
you want goals or not? That's what needs to be done.
I like the offense, and it does look like the kind of stuff that Domi was doing in the playoffs for us last year. Like, you do kind of need that. So as long as he doesn't cross the line, I'm okay with it.
Is it possible we had it'd be, I suppose, a switch, right? We went with worrying about Max Pacioretty's health joining the Maple Leafs. Was there like a Freaky Friday body swap between Max Pacioretty and Auston Matthews? Now Matthews is just constantly sitting on IR. Possible? No? Yes?
No,
I'm going to say doubtful.
That's an October theory. We're at Christmas time here.
Okay. Just give them goals. But yeah, you're not touching that second line. So what do you guys think they do with the first line?
Well, you touch the second line is what you do. Like, even you have your ideal lineup when you're all healthy, but when your number one center goes out and we are as shallow in center depth as we are, you just can't say we're not touching that second line. You touch the second line. You know you have that in your back pocket, that Tavares, Nylander, Pacioretty is going to work. And you make something up for right now. You make it so it's Tavares, Marner, Nyes, and the next line is Pacioretty, Nylander, Domi. Like, you make it work with what you have. But I guess it really depends on how long Matthews is out. But if it's only for a little bit here, then you just kind of patch it up.
If he goes to Germany, we're throwing him in the blender.
Don't even mention Germany for the rest of this pod, Tim. Germany is done. I don't think that's the answer, Rye. I mean, William Nylander is going for the Rocket. He's about to have his best goal-scoring season ever. And I think you need to do whatever you can to keep his line cooking, because he is, in so many situations where the Leafs need a goal, he is the man this season.
But tell me the line that William Nylander has been on this season, because he's been on a few, including the third line for it. Tell me the line he's been on that he has not dominated and looked good.
Well, okay, but what you're suggesting then is that you move Tavares up, right? Mm-hmm. And he's playing with Marner and Nylander, or Marner and Nyes. That's great, okay? Mm-hmm. But you're not touching that third line. I think we're all in agreement, right? You don't touch that third line. So then it's Holmberg playing
that
with
third line other than when they're together. But
so then
guys, we could leave Kämpf and Marner together.
Stop.
And it might help with the Marner contract negotiation in July.
Brad and Brubaker in cahoots.
I wonder if Minton gets called back up again, I guess.
Honestly, Steven, that's the only solution that makes sense to me here. Either that or, like, accelerate your plans and trade for the center now, but, like, you're probably not going to get a good center or a good deal on a center right now, so that probably won't happen. But it's just like the other options are Kämpf or Holmberg, or, like, just sucky options.
Are you think trading for a center is still in the cards? Like, obviously it's only been 4 games of McMahon, Domi, and Robertson, but, like, is Domi the center solution we were looking for?
300% the center is still the priority here. Even if this is, like, Domi works and this third line continues, they all score 80 goals this year, they get a center to replace Kämpf on the fourth line. Like, it's just like, it's, even if Domi works, it's still our weakest position in terms of depth. So yes. And, like, let's pump the brakes a little bit on this third line. They've been together for, I think, 4 games. They lost one of them quite badly to the Islanders, and the other 2 were against Buffalo, who could not beat the Leafscast professional hockey team. Like, it's not necessarily the most impressive
there'd only
sample
be
size.
four skaters.
Yes, we'd be on the PK the entire time.
3 if you put me in net with that set of goalie pads that had 2 gloves that Grandma got me from
that was
Liquidation World. Okay, so that group could beat the Senators, the Sabres.
At this
I love
point,
it.
probably. I didn't see if they played again tonight. Did they lose? They didn't play.
I'm not there with the trading for a center yet. I mean, this is what Domi was brought here to be, or re-signed to be, like in a best case, or almost in a worst case scenario, actually, right? Was that like he would be our third line center. I think he played out. I mean, we have so much time, I think, before the deadline. Like, it's not something I'm considering. I think you just bring Minton back. I think you put him exactly where Auston Matthews was. I mean, he never got a run with that good of players.
Top line center to bring him from the AHL to top line center?
Sort of the top line. Like, it's not the top line if Auston Matthews isn't there anymore. It's now probably the second or third line.
No, but it's
John
it's
Tavares' line is the top
It's the line that's getting the tough minutes, though. Like, you're not giving the tough minutes to the Pacioretty, Nylander, Tavares line. Like, it's still going to Marner and to Nyes. Like, that's still where you're going with it. So that's why you have to switch things around. You put Tavares on that line. You put him with Nylander if you want to make that a little bit more sheltered. Or it's like you can't just say... Again, it depends how long Matthews is going to be out for. Like, maybe if it's a long time, then you do need to come up with a plan here. If it's only a couple games, you can do whatever you want. Maybe they'll just let him rest until after Christmas. I don't know. But
he's not on IR, right?
No,
Matthews?
so. Yeah, anyway, they could retroactively put him on
He's
IR.
back to the day-to-day. I know he's confirmed to not play tomorrow night, Monday night.
It just feels like Minton, as well as this third line we've discovered, it doesn't feel like the kind of line or players in those positions that Berube is going to want to play in playoff games. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like a little too loose, a little too up and down, and he'd rather have four lines that don't score, but they don't get scored on is what he would rather have. So, I don't know.
That's what the defense is for, Ryan. And the goaltending. What's we haven't even talked about goaltending yet. Do you want to keep talking about the forwards?
No, I'm ready to talk about the goaltending.
Matt Murray makes his grand return to the NHL after over 600 days.
Do you guys find that like a feel-good story? Like, are you kind of touched that like, he's back and he made it back to the NHL? Or is it just like, how is this man still wearing a Leaf? Like, where are you guys at with that?
I mean, it's fun that he's back, but do you not remember? It was last season. It was just before the playoffs, and like... there was that tweet that like Matt Murray has a stall in the locker room now, and we were like scared. I don't know why we were scared. We're just like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah, I when I first heard the news, I didn't quite buy into it. It's like, man, is this gonna happen, and what's actually going on? But then hear like all the players talk about him like fighting his way back and be like giving him the belt for the win, and like I kind of bought into it after that. It's like, oh yeah, here's.
I think it means something. It means something to the team.
It does mean something to the team, and I think from that perspective, like, it has been a long time, like, and good for him for like persevering. Like, who knows the severity of these injuries versus like we joke about Robidas Island, but here's someone that like he came back and like he kept working with it, and he made it. He got the win against Buffalo, but hey, a W's a W.
He got the win against Buffalo with 2 disallowed goals.
Yeah,
I mean, one of them like definitely, well, both of them I guess rightly so, but. Yeah, did not look like the savior the Leafs were looking for. And already sent back down to the AHL, by the way. Hildeby's back up, I guess.
Oh, interesting.
But, no, and the reason why, for those living under a rock hadn't heard yet, Stolarz on IR, had a small... Pebble behind his knee.
Who knows?
It's been in the back of my mind, though. Sometimes when I'm, like, down on my knees, like, getting after it, working, I'm like... My knee art? Like, what's going on back there? I don't even know.
I don't think it was actually a rock.
We're going back to, though, like, the Leafs do not know what day-to-day means. We didn't talk about it last time, but, like, when they left that game on Sunday, it's like he's day-to-day. He's not going to play the next game. And next thing you know, he's on IR, and it sounds like it's going to be a while.
I think this was something else they found. Like, I think this is this pebble or whatever, like shard or whatever they found. It was something unrelated to this first injury. I think they found it when they were like looking around. They said like, "Oh, let's get this fixed now." Like, I think that's what happened.
So how confident are you guys that Joe Woll is going to be able to carry us for a few months here? Because Stolarz did. Like, Woll started the season injured. Stolarz like, "Hey, I'm your guy," and he played 90% of the games. It was unbelievable. Like, he was top of the league in terms of metrics. And then they share the crease for a bit, and now Stolarz is out on Wall. It's Wall's turn.
So Stolarz had played one game more than his all-time high ever for games in a season, and that is the game that he ends up getting hurt in. What are the odds?
What are the odds?
And that's my main concern with Joe Woll taking over is just the health, because it hasn't been there for him. And but he's looked great. I would say overall in the games that he's been in here. I mean, he still has I think he's top 5 in the league for save percentage. His goals against average is creeping up a little bit because the Leafs are getting shelled from time to time. But he needs to stay healthy, and it's gonna be weird too because you get Hildeby is now back up. Maybe it's Murray, and I would say neither of them gave Berube or anyone else in Leafs Nation much confidence, right? That this is a guy you can trust. I mean, Hildeby's looked rough, which is interesting considering his success in the AHL.
I mean, the Leafs have seen lots of goalies that can do it in the AHL and not make the transition.
Well, hold on. I'm don't be so quick to just declare Hildeby a Garrett Sparks here. It's how many games has he played in the NHL? 2?
He'll be. I know. Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant that's no guarantee of pedigree if he's going to make it or not. But I think Hildeby's still 23. That's pretty young. So he might still figure it out. I would say I'm more confident
Wall's have to play him. The Leafs have a back-to-back this very week. We get the most back-to-backs of anybody.
Schedule makers hate us
due to the Raptors, Amazon. What else?
Taylor Swift.
Those are the 3.
I was feeling pretty okay about Wall. The injury stuff is definitely there. All it takes for him to go down, then it's Hildeby Murray is our 1-2 punch, which is interesting. That game against the Islanders actually did concern me a little bit for Wall, because we've been kind of blessed this year of never really having a game where it's oof, our goaltending was bad that game. Stolarz has been so good. That whole stretch where it was Stolarz in and Wall was hurt, there was maybe one goal every 5 games that was I wish he had that one. And it was never a bad game. He'd be good, he'd be dialed in for the rest of it. And that game for Wall against the Islanders, the Leafs in general did not play very well, but Wall let in some real stinkers. That was, I would say, it was a bad game for Joseph Woll. And it's well, what, you have one bad game? It's well, it's just he hasn't played in the NHL that much. His number of games isn't the highest. And so the bar is kind of set by Stolarz. And to me, it's after watching that Islanders game, I'm just man, I hope Stolarz gets back earlier, because I want him to be our number 1. And maybe one game was too aggressive to make my brain be thinking that. But that's the bar that Stolarz has set, and Wall is already not clearing it for me.
I'm going to have a bit more faith than that, though. I mean, before the season, I was ready that, I was buying in that Joe Woll was going to lead this team to the playoffs again and hopefully a deep run. And we lucked into this Stolarz thing being amazing, right? Probably the best free agent signing in the NHL. But not a great game. The Leafs looked awful. I thought they looked really rough. And I think because then you go back to the Wednesday game against Dallas, probably our biggest game in a month that I can think of since that time we shut out Boston. And the Leafs looked great, but Joe Woll looked great. I mean, he was under attack in that game. I mean, Dallas is a team that will be going deep in the playoffs in the Western Conference, as they do every season. They look no different. And the Leafs don't win that game with any other goalie, or Hildeby, right. Petruzzelli, Garrett Sparks. Tim, name a goalie.
David Ayers.
Okay, Tim.
I was gonna, if Tim said somebody, I was gonna have him say somebody more obscure, and then he just went the most obscure.
Viva
Ryan,
Leinen.
name a goalie.
Viva Leinen. Wasn't he a goalie? I think he was a goalie.
Yeah, he was a goalie. Yeah, I don't remember
the Rush.
Why or when.
We have one more Russian goalie. Akhtyamov.
Artur Akhtyamov. Yeah.
Yes. He's doing okay in the AHL. There's more hope coming up the pipeline.
Right.
Yeah, it's his first season in North America, and I don't know. That'd be crazy if they bring him up. But again, yeah. So like, Woll had an amazing game where I think like he's a huge part of why we won on Dallas in Dallas on Wednesday in a huge game. Rough game on Saturday. Team was really rough in front of him. I don't know. Bo Horvat's got a good shot. I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass for Saturday night. So, and we have to have faith, Ryan, because you're going to have a rough next week if you don't have faith in Joe Woll because he's going to play.
But here's the thing. Like you say that, I don't want Joe Woll to be like taking 90% of the starts and like, man, we got to play Joe Woll because Hildeby and Murray aren't good enough. Like, let's drop some games now and keep Woll healthy. I don't want to overtax this guy. It's like Tim said it. We have a whole team of glass bones and paper skins back there. Like I don't want to overdo it and injure him too, and then we're super screwed.
It would be interesting to know like how badly does Berube and Treliving want to win the division. Like Florida is obviously like nipping right at our heels. Like I think right now we're tied at 44 points, both 34 games played. Like actually, our records are identical, but like, are they still pushing the team? Like, are they using that as fuel to like get the team to like push hard every night and keep going because that's the style of hockey they want to play, or are they just like, okay, we're confident that we're gonna make the playoffs and like it's a marathon, not a sprint?
Well, you'll have that answer, Tim, when you see how quickly Auston Matthews comes back from this injury. Is he out for 2 months or is he out for 2 days? Back at 60% Matthews.
I don't see. I think it's a great idea that you don't play Woll every night. I don't think it's going to happen though. Murray did not instill any confidence, so it's absolutely not Murray. He's back down the AHL, so it's really irrelevant. But like Hildeby, I suppose if you've got a soft one come up, like he's definitely going to play one of the games this coming weekend. But like we play a lot of games against the Islanders, he's not going in for those. Can't play the Sabres every night, unfortunately. You want a center? I think you can get some from the Sabres.
Jeez.
What do you want?
Do you want those centers?
I don't know if I want anything from that team, you know.
Oh my gosh. I saw this or this like tweet or something like that, and it was like the Sabres could have Jake McCabe, they could have Sam Reinhart, Jack Eichel, like all these guys. And they
Ryan
just
O'Reilly.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh, that's so long ago. That's like a decade ago at this point. Ryan O'Reilly.
Zach Bogosian? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, Bogosian was.
There
Wait,
you go.
no.
Yeah, he was there.
Well, he was there, but I thought Bogosian was drafted by the Thrashers.
Yeah, he was a Winnipeg guy for a while. I think he was in Winnipeg.
Well, I know he was there during the transition, but I think he was the third overall pick to the Thrashers in 2007.
Jeez.
Oh,
Impressive.
come on! The Stamkos draft. Who am I? Should have known. Not the Kane draft. Not the
All right.
Kane draft.
Should we get into our Christmas wish list here?
Yeah.
'Tis the season.
All right.
I'll go first.
We are all going to say what we want for Christmas, and it cannot be some new pair of jeans because I need new jeans. But we're talking about Maple Leafs only here.
I want Max Domi to continue to cook. There is no one more important on that line. The Nicky Robb story is great. I love that he's playing well. Bobby McMahon is my man, and that's great. But the Leafs will figure it out if those guys aren't cooking, but they need Max Domi to figure out his game, whether it's as a third-line center or somewhere else in the lineup. It's going to start here. And I don't know. He's got mojo right now. He's hyping the guys up that are with him. And I don't know. The spot for best line on the Maple Leafs is up for grabs now that Auston Matthews is out, and I think I want Max Domi to take it. That's what I want for Christmas this year.
That is actually a good one, Steven. Because, like we were saying, it's the biggest need. It's center. And if Max Domi can keep it up, then...
Do I not regularly drop bombs on this podcast?
Yes, that's actually exactly what I would describe.
No,
that
like
you're regularly
bombs like
dropping.
heat. Like I'm bringing heat.
Well, there's something. Yeah, there's something for sure.
What do you want?
All right.
I want Easton Cowan to make the World Junior Championships must watch hockey for me.
Ooh.
I want to see him tear up that tournament and say, like, you put me on this team and I will beat out David Kämpf and Brian Reeves for a roster.
Tim, are you gonna watch? Are you gonna watch this year?
Easton Cowan has to personally tell me this is why I'm watching.
I love the World Juniors. Tim, I'm glad you're watching. I'm podding. If Tim's watching too, I'm podding. Ryan has canceled the World Juniors for some reason. He doesn't care about his home country or hockey or Christmas.
They're all too young.
Easton Cowan had a rough tournament last time.
Yeah, he did.
Or just he did not. He was brought there to like be an absolute wagon and a force on the team, and he was not. This year it's shaping up to be that way. Like I said, he's cooked in those games.
Minton also didn't have a great World Juniors last year. Is that right? He kind of struggled. Minton.
Yeah, he was the captain.
Yeah.
He didn't stand out.
But everybody struggled last time too.
Yeah,
I think they got like 5th or something.
They did not do well.
Bad year to be a Canadian baby. This year is a good one. Is that really what you want, Tim? You want Easton Cowan
That's a good
to
one. I like it.
tear it up
Yeah.
and then just join the Leafs?
I don't know if he'll join the Leafs or not. I forget. Did he play? He didn't even play his 9 games this year, did he?
No, he didn't.
He hasn't
He
played
didn't play
any
any last
games.
year either. He got sent down before.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah,
but
no,
he was
I
a
would
late
like
cut. He was a late cut again this year.
Right. I would like to see him get some games with the Leafs just to see, like, this is part of his development curve. I don't know if I don't think he'll burn a year of his entry-level contract this year. Like, I think the Leafs have a lot of forwards, and I don't think Berube is the kind of style to, like, I think he has a bit of an uphill battle to make the roster, but I think next year the roster spot is there. But I would like to see Easton Cowan take that step forward and say, like, I want him to make it a hard decision for Berube, saying, like, all right, no, I'm going to keep Ryan Reeves in this lineup. Does he struggle with this, really? Like, we all struggle every time we see him in the roster, and it's just like, okay, yes, you had one good play. Like, what was it? He had the one breakaway.
That breakaway was hilarious because I've never seen Ryan Reeves do anything remotely notable. Even like hitting players he hasn't been doing or fighting play. Has he even gotten a fight this year? I don't think so.
No, he hasn't.
He does absolutely nothing. He gets on a breakaway and just lets like a weak slapper that just hits the goalie right in the chest. It's just like, what is the point of you being on this team? Completely purposeless. I like your one though, Tim. It's a fun one.
That's crazy. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I don't know. I love the idea of it too.
Don't doubt Santa Claus. He can do anything.
All right. I would like for Christmas for our top 4D to get back to being the best top 4D we've had in 20 years. And this isn't really directed towards Tanev and McCabe, but it's more towards OEL and to a lesser extent Riley. Just it feels like the sheens kind of come off. That OEL especially has really kind of stepped back. He was great at the start of the season. Like we were talking, like he was, other than Stolarz, maybe like the best thing that we brought in this year. And now he just kind of feels like he's looking more like a third pair guy than a second pair guy. And maybe I don't know what that is. Like maybe it's just not working with Riley anymore. And I want to see our top 4 get back to best in the last 20 years is what I'm looking for.
Well, thank you, Ryan. We almost spent the whole podcast out talking about the defense.
I got you.
Well, and this week, even this past week, a couple of weird, lineup changes or just shifting guys around, and Berube's not afraid to try some different stuff. That's a good one. So Ryan, what you're saying is, because you're focusing on the defense here, you do not want the Leafs to just sign one of our prospects straight out of junior and bring them up to the Maple Leafs in an important role right away. Well, Ben Danford.
They don't only if they blow me away against other juniors will I then do that. Yeah.
The best under 20-year-old players in the world besides the Russians. That's the rule. Dude, you know what I was looking at is this is so random, but we were talking about the 4 nations. I saw a couple of like projected Russian lineups, what those would have looked like. Russia would have been tough. I mean, they never have centers, but like Russia has, with Kaprizov and Svechnikov and Fedorov. I mean, they got some guys. Russia would have been tough to deal with. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one, Rye.
All right. We are all set with our
Wait,
Christmas
pick
wishes.
one. Pick somebody else's that you want to be true. I want Tim's to be true.
Nah, I'd pick Stevens. Tim?
No, I'd probably pick yours. Either that, or I'd say like
Wait.
I want the third line to be real, not like this McMahon Domi Robertson combo. I want it to not last more than 4 games.
So Stevens. You pick Stevens.
I suppose.
All right. Good job, Steven.
Okay, so big week this week. The big guys coming, but the Leafs are coming with a couple of big games. So
Who's the big guy?
Jets,
What are you talking about?
Santa Claus.
Oh, okay. I
big man.
I was trying to think of who on the Winnipeg Jets was the big guy. Like
Dustin
Pionk?
Byfuglien.
Like, yeah, Byfuglien. Yeah.
Byfuglien.
All right.
Is he still playing? So Leafs play Byfuglien tomorrow, 2 p.m.
He
a
is
day
not
game.
playing.
Is that the next gen game?
I thought we already had that this year.
It's at 2 p.m. on Monday, so I think so.
It's anywhere
Everyone
at
who has
home, so
Marner
it's gotta
in
be.
fantasy better beware.
There you go.
Friday, Red Wings. Saturday, Capitals again. And then Tuesday, because I don't know if we'll pod before then, but Tuesday you've got the Islanders at home, New Year's Eve. What do you guys think about that stretch? And Rye, are you really telling me that you want to roll out Hildeby for any more than one of those games?
I would roll out Hildeby on Monday against the Jets. And on one of the I would run him out for 2 of those games. I would.
You would put him in there against
I-
the Jets on Tuesday or Monday, and not the Red Wings on Friday.
Yeah, I put him out because, I mean, he's going to play either that Friday or Saturday. Like, the backup's going to play on the back-to-back night. So it's just whether or not you play him on the Monday ahead of that with the Winnipeg Jets. And I don't know. I just think that our goaltending is too precarious. Our goaltenders are both a little too injury-prone. It's just not worth it. Just play Hildeby.
I think you look at the opponent, not maybe more so in the day, but like I think for the Winnipeg game and the Washington game, you want to have Woll in there, and Islanders, Detroit, like
Winnipeg is so
Hildeby.
fake, Tim. Marner's going to get 5 goals against them. Like, it's not even... I'm not even concerned. What? It's the next-gen game. We always win the next-gen game.
That's why you're talking about Marner does always cook the next gen game. No, I think it's Woll tomorrow. I think it's Hildeby on Friday, and I think it's Woll again on Saturday. And it better be, because Saturday is my birthday, and if the Leafs get absolutely shelled by the Capitals on my birthday, then it'll go down as a top 20 worst birthdays for me.
All right. I'd love to see this list. I'd be interested.
Yeah, I'll get into that in the next pod.
Next top 5 list.
Next top 5 is my top 20 worst birthdays with a 10-minute explanation of each one. No, they've been good. Okay.
All right, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hey, you might hear from us with a World Juniors pod. Tim, you shouldn't even told me you were going to watch. Ryan, watch. Everyone else, watch. Watch the Leafs, but watch the World Juniors. It'll be fun. And have a Merry Christmas.